about a month ago this article about this firm that was looking into, I think they were studying mothers, and they started finding out on mommy blogs that all these mothers were giving their kids Gatorade as a way to sort of like for hydration. And then they found out that athletes were actually drinking Pedialyte. And like, how would they have ever known that had they not gone into these forums and heard about all these little hacks that people are doing? And so what I like that analogy because I think social listening is a way to just uncover how people are being people and doing things online. And for research is a great way for us to really expand our point of view so we're not so narrowed. And also understand what competitors are doing or track behavior over time. What's changing? How is this year different than last year? And lastly, it's sort of this combination of qualitative and quantitative research. We can read the actual live tweets and blogs and conversations and also get some interesting numbers behind it. Now, it's not quantitative research. These numbers are a little bit loose and self-reported on some level because people register their blogs wherever they want to and they say whatever sex they want to, but we take it for that value. And Facebook stalking, sort of made this up, but basically social listening, you can't listen to Facebook, not your Facebooks at least. That's why we like it. But for me, I really want to know what you guys are saying every day. So I had to come up with this little bit of a hack for this. And what we do is basically we'll have a controlled group of an online community, and then we'll invite those 30 people to be friends with our sort of research profile on Facebook. We make sure to be authentic about who we are and everything like that. And then all of a sudden I have this feed of 30 people, and I can watch all of their unaided behavior while I'm having a controlled experience with them. And it doesn't always work, and but sometimes it's an interesting way to sort of uncover behaviors that people weren't naturally talking about. And I think, it's not that this is illegal, it's the wild, wild west and whatever, but I think this type of behavior will evolve for researchers to find better ways to sort of understand these behaviors, because there's a lot of closed doors online still, and that's an interesting, it's hard to get around them sometimes. So, and this is an NSA, like legal spying, obviously, I have people agreeing to let me watch their Facebook page. Digital ethnographies are kind of what that looks like. They're not the same as in-person ethnographies, obviously. If we can't, let's say we do 12 ethnographies across the US and go into people's homes and talk to them about their lives, but we want to make sure that we weren't being biased against the UK or another city that we didn't get to test. We'll go in and do digital ethnographies where we talk to someone for 90 minutes, have them show us their apartments and their lives and open cupboards for us. And it's a little bit more instructive and self-sharing, but it's a great way to sort of like remove time barriers, location barriers, and potentially like some people just don't, single moms that have 2 jobs, they don't have a lot of time to share with you, so you're able to sort of be more helpful for their schedules. And also, sometimes people feel more comfortable sharing when they're sitting on their favorite chair and they're eating and they're in a space that they feel comfortable. You might be able to get more authentic insights. Second to last one, online focus groups. Again, very similar, looks like the Brady Bunch screen on the computer, but again, if you have location issues or you can't, time and people can't make it to a certain time for your focus groups, this is a great way to talk to a lot of people and test ideas with them. What do you think about this? What don't you like? Whiteboard ideas with them online, live, in the moment. No prep, no travel. For any of you that's worked in market research, these can be very extensive and time-consuming, and this is a way to speed it up really quickly and sort of get those live insights, and maybe go back to the same group the next day and the next day. You're not traveling all over the country and spending a lot of time on that. And again, people are in their own homes. They can be more comfortable. They can sit back and think about things. So that is that. And Facebook scraping. These are some selfies, not of me, but Facebook scraping is an interesting tool that I came across. That essentially, before someone joins a community, let's say you're studying a community of millennials that have, that are sort of still in your target market, and you want to understand, is there something about this group of people that is really different that I can't even think of the right question to ask them. I don't know what this is. Facebook scraping will add a Facebook Connect login to when they join your study, and what that means is it allows them to grab the about information from their Facebook, what they basically make public if they agree to let you sort of scrape that page, and all of a sudden you are able to categorize all the likes on all their pages, all the check-ins, all the music, everything like that shows up in the About Me section, and look for patterns and see if anything shows up. Sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes you might notice that, oh my gosh, we're setting consumers that really, really like Doritos, and all of these people actually really like this organic, natural brand of chips as well. And so what's the relationship there? So it's another thing that helps you know what you didn't know. So I thought I would just do a couple examples of how you guys could use it in your own work, sort of make it work yourself, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's really about, the number one thing for doing any of this is just being like as human as possible and like sensitive to people and sort of being a little bit highly empathetic, because this is a digital space. We don't have facial expressions and tone to inform us, so we have to read in to behavior a little bit. But I have an example of a business question. So we had an online dating, a woman came in to talk about online dating a couple months ago, so I thought I would do something similar. I can't talk about any of my actual projects. I am bound by secrecy, but I made one up. So let's say your business question is, how can I build a better dating site for women? Just a theory that maybe women might not like dating sites. And the goal of this project would be, let's say, explore female attitudes and behaviors around online dating. So we want to know, how do they feel about it today? What do they like? What don't they like? Why? How would they make it better? Etc. What sites are they using? All those type of things. So in order to do this, this is perfect for an online community. We can recruit 30 women of our target market. We decide which groups they fall in, who are the ideal women that we want to talk to, how much money do they make, where do they live, etc. We bring them into an online space. And for the course of 2 weeks, we dive into all their opinions about online dating and all their stories, and we try to look for patterns, and then we try to create our own site and some ideas around what we found, and we throw those ideas back at them in the second week and see how they feel about them and help them iterate them with us in the community. You can share photos, you can share videos, you can write on the screen and have people write on the screen with you. It's just a great way to do some co-creation building with people after sort of learning about their opinions. To do this yourself, the first thing to do is sort of find an online community platform. Now there's tons of research platforms out there that would love your money, and they're about $1,000 for a week, about $1,500 for 2 weeks. But when I started, I didn't, they weren't very advanced, and I didn't know about a lot of them, so I just used Ning. And Ning was like $25 a month. I searched online for some code to put into the site to remove all the social sharing, because you don't want anybody to share information when you're doing private research. And you can basically close a Ning community yourself with a little bit of search. And in that community, you can invite people to join you. It's similar to Facebook. You can study them. There's blogs, there's forum options, there's photo sharing and video. And these are all sort of creative tools that you can use to sort of build your project. And again, you recruit your audience. So today, one of the best ways is probably to search on Facebook for people that you know that fit into that group. Talk to friends, but just create those specs around the sort of segment that you're looking for, and sort of recruit that. You can also do, there's online recruiting now is like $2 a person. It's not very expensive. People's incentive to participate is a lot lower, so it's harder to get them to participate. But if you're on a cost issue, I would look into that. Online recruiting is how they recruit for surveys. But sometimes if you can sort of hack it to get them to recruit to participate in qualitative research, if you set it up correctly, and it's about asking, letting them know about the project, letting them know they'd be incentivized more, etc. But that's a great way to get around cost. But again, your Facebook group is free. Designing a daily discussion guide, this is really your insurance for the success of your project. Thinking about a discussion guide is thinking about what is the outcome that I want out of this, this research. What do I want women to say? Well, not that what do I want them to say, but what types of questions do I want to ask them, and sort of areas of response that I want to get, so I know if I'm getting success. And sort of building your discussion guide backwards. In WhatIf, a lot of time we're like, we want photos and videos, and we want raw data of what people are talking about, or co-creation or collaging is a big thing. So we build all of those pieces into our discussion guide. It's a daily assignment, 20 minutes a day, and it's amazing what people will share with you. And then this is also when you want to consider the level of interaction. So who's the audience that you're talking to? Is this a sensitive topic? Does this need to be more of like a closed blogging interaction? Can they talk to each other? Or do we need to create a few days of them to get comfortable with you before they talk to each other? So thinking about those layers. Moderator, that just is a human. If you find a human in this room, any of you can do this. It's just about being curious and probing and gentle and not overwhelming people with a lot of content. web loves simplicity and simple sentences, and so the more simple you can be and light in your conversation and how you ask people, the more content you'll get. The worst communities are like half a page of discussion questions and then asking someone to just share a Bible with you. You need to be really simple and open with how you ask them questions, and people will share so much if you use the right language and words. And then you just, develop themes and insights. Look for patterns. That's what we do. So the second one is for social listening. So let's say you wanted to try to do a social listening project. Let's make up a business question. Let's say that we're Pandora and we're losing business to Spotify. So we want to figure out how to improve our customer retention. And so the goal of this research would be to understand what's driving consumers to join Spotify. Where's the gap there? And so the method for this would be developing a framework for conducting a sort of competitive analysis through social listening by analyzing the online conversations around Spotify and Pandora in the last year. One of the things about social listening is the Twitter fire hose is about. Twitter fire hose is like being able to tap into all the past conversations on Twitter, but it only gives you about 2 years. So I like to keep the social listening studies about in 1 or 2 years going back, just so you can access Twitter. But essentially, what you would do is you would determine your social listening platform. This can be expensive if you actually go through a regular professional site like Crimson Hexagon or Sysomos, which you can totally hack it. And not that you're hacking into those sites, but you can create your own streams for completely free. Don't give them your money unless you have a firm backing you that wants to pay for it. And I will give you a list of what these are. But essentially what you're going to do once you have access to social listening sort of capabilities, you're going to want to design Boolean queries. That's a really fancy way of talking about search and what words you're going to put into a search engine and how you're going to combine them together. So in this example, you say, Spotify and Pandora and music and subscription and price and all the words that come to your mind around these areas. And you're not going to think of everything. There is a ton of ways that we talk about things that you have no idea that an 18-year-old can say about that. You just can't do it, right? But social listening will help you find those other words, and as you start building this sort of catalog of words, you'll uncover these conversations. It's really about putting yourself in the mindset of your customer. What words are they putting into the search engine when they're looking for something? And sort of learning about these conversations. And then you just look for conversations. It's amazing. Basically, Twitter conversations, hundreds of them will fly up, forums, blog discussions, and you'll be able to read these raw consumer discussions around exactly what you're looking for. And it's one of the harder things is organizing this. One of the things I say is big data is amazing and really interesting, but I feel like we don't have a solution on the best way to sift it. We used to not have enough information. We had to go out and find it. Now we have way too much information, and we have to figure out how to organize it. And I feel like that is the hardest part of everything I do, is figuring out what to do with way too much information and the right ways to sift it online, especially when there aren't platforms that do it for you. You got to do it yourself. Content coding, whatever it is, that is really difficult, but really exciting to see how people are talking about the question that you just had in your head, and they said it 5 minutes ago. It's really exciting. So, and then essentially searching and sifting, and again, looking for patterns in this data. For social listening, I think I wrote some of the, no I didn't, oops, I think I ended it. Well, that was the last slide, but I was going to say, I can send you guys some information on like sites that you can use to sort of hack social listening. There's a ton of them out there, like Hootsuite is like a really obvious one, Social Mention. These are just places where you can just tap into at least what consumers are saying about your topic of interest.
Yeah, so we will post that on the MeetUp page.
Yes.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for Tom?